Hello, welcome to today's episode. Juicing the numbers, your statistics, and sports.
And I'm Corwin Heller.
And we have gone through great trials and tribulations to bring this show to tonight. So you sons of bitches better be appreciative out there of all the hard work Corwin and I put into this show. Anyway,
Google something. It was pretty brutal.
Patting oneself on the backside. So we are in the midst of the World Series. The Dodgers took Game 1 in loud fashion. They lead the Rays. It's 8:47 p.m. here on the East Coast on a Wednesday, October 21st. And as it stands, the Rays are currently leading the Dodgers this time. So we'll see how this game shakes out. By the time this episode airs, you'll already know how it shakes out. But we will not. We are living in the past.
You know what we should do? We should commit crimes.
Ooh, time crimes.
That's a reference.
Hashtag Big Screen Juice. The best movies review podcast of all time.
The only movie review podcast of all time.
Yeah, well, that's not true, but we can pretend like it. All right, well, so yeah, there's nothing to really say about it yet. You know, the Dodgers hit a bunch of home runs. The Rays didn't hit as many home runs. Why did Kevin Cash leave Tyler Glasnow out so long? There's nothing to really say. Dodgers spanked the Braves ultimately, well, not really spanked. They won by 1 run. So actually not spanked at all. It's literally the least amount you could win by. There's ain't nothing to really say yet in the world of baseball. So that leaves us with the only other sport still in its regular season and playing games that we have to talk about. Our nation's British pastime in some ways, football. The season has not yet ended. It's still trying.
Do Jets fans already trying to figure out when the season ends, wishing for it to happen?
Oh, Jets fans can't do that much math. So before we get too far, I want to ask you about something I've been seeing a lot on Jets Twitter that I just do not understand, which is people saying that the Jets should hang on to Adam Gase throughout the rest of the season to helm the tank for Trevor Lawrence.
I don't honestly, to a certain degree, I kind of get it. I really do. It's something where Adam Gase is a certain lock to be unable to get this team to rebound from the start that they're on. And we've seen Jim Bob Cooter, who would be the presumptive offensive play caller, succeed in, that context, the context of, being a play caller with a young, naturally talented QB. We've seen Greg Williams take over as an interim coach and succeed and win games with a quote-unquote hopeless franchise. I could see how the Jets ownership would be nervous about this team actually being able to fuck up enough to win a game, and they screw themselves out of Trevor Lawrence. I get it. I really do. I don't know if it would be the decision I would make, just because that does leads to the issues of, team morale, the culture that the team is trying to cultivate, with the young team that they have. But I could see at least why in their minds it might not be a bad idea for them to stick it out with Adam Gase. Granted, I really doubt this is the long play that the Johnsons are going for. I'll be honest, I don't think they're that creative. I think they just fucking suck, and this is just the natural consequence of that. Is this them fucking hanging around, waiting for something to happen, just Too scared to make a decision.
So I think if you are out there propagating the idea that the Jets are actively trying to or should hang on to Adam Gase so that they can secure the number 1 pick in the draft, you're a fucking idiot. You're irreconcilably stupid. Because for one thing, you're assuming rational actors, which is the stupidest thing you can do.
The largest economic fallacy in history.
Huh?
The largest economic fallacy in history is assuming everyone fucking knows what they're doing.
Literally, like, Econ 101 is like, hey, this is the models that they make very simplistically, assuming everyone does the thing that you would expect a common sense person to do. But we know no one does that, so here's the model that shows you the average fucking moron's decision making, because it's closer to what actually would likely to happen. So if you were to tell me that for a fact the Jets were going to get rid of Sam Darnold and had every intention of taking Trevor Lawrence, I'd say, yeah, let's lose as many games as possible. And even in that reality, I still wouldn't want to hang on to Adam Gase for the morality reasons that you brought forward. Because what free agent is ever going to come here if the ownership is willing to dig over an entire roster of players just to get a higher draft pick? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying tanking doesn't have its value. Of course it has value. But teams usually do it by, like, getting rid of their good players, so they're starting bad players. Not by forcing an entire roster to, like, succumb to the pathetic embarrassment of being on this team for 6 months.
Here's the fallacy I think you're falling under, is you think that team culture is what's keeping free agents from signing with the Jets. It's the Jets keeping free agents from signing with the Jets. And I don't think the culture of, Adam Gase's tenure, whatever that culture could be considered, I don't think that's what's keeping people away, because I don't think there's any improving what we're at already. I think if you do bring in a near perfect prospect like Trevor Lawrence, and you bring in a head coach that has some semblance of ability when it comes to calling offensive plays and building a team, any semblance of that, which I think getting Trevor Lawrence would almost ensure. You get one of them, whether it be Greg Roman, Eric Bieniemy from the Chiefs, what have you. One of the guys, maybe Lincoln Riley finally makes the jump from college. It doesn't matter, because I think that culture will reinvent itself when you reinvent the Jets. And I think Trevor Lawrence is enough to nearly do that. Trevor Lawrence, a new coach, that would be what brings in free agents. And right now, the Jets can't rely on using free agent acquisitions to rebuild this team. It has to be through the draft, which is what, ensuring high draft picks will do. It will ensure that there is talented players on this team because you have higher draft picks, all that goes with it. And I think that in turn will lead to these free agents signing with the Jets. So I'm not saying you're wrong, because you very well, could be spot on with how these go down. I'm just saying there's other options that, it could be. It could work out that way. I don't know.
My main point is, why would someone who has options go to the Jets?
They wouldn't.
And that's what I'm saying. If Adam Gase will leave, whether it's this year, next year, or the year after, Adam Gase will be gone. My point is, why would you, as an ownership group, look at a player like every every big ticket free agent and to look at the Le'Veon Bell situation with the Jets and cringe. Because here's a guy who was the best at his position for a long time, who was able to get a deal with this team and was treated so poorly that not only did his production cliff, he ended up having to get cut because there wasn't even trade value there. And the team picked the coach that fucked him over the player. And that isn't necessarily an Adam Gase decision, because the ownership group, that is the Johnsons, could have fired Adam Gase and taken that any control he might have had over the situation out of his hands. That's what I'm talking about. There's a reason players are willing to go to the Patriots for less money, because the Patriots are good and they'll win and they'll use you appropriately. They'll make the most out of your skill set, and you can turn that time and production into a bigger payday down the road.
And I definitely get that. I get that. I do. That, players want to go to good teams. The Jets do not have that, situation where players want to come play in New York. But I don't think holding on to Adam Gase for 11 more games, I don't know how many games the Jets have played, 12, 11 more games, is going to be a difference maker for those free agents. The damage is done. It's really now the certainty of, hey, let's hold on to Adam Gase. We'll get Trevor Lawrence. We'll actually be able to have a committed plan for this rebuild.
Well, and again,
I don't know
you're
if
still
like
making the assumption that
that's the plan.
And that's the part that I'm saying makes this. That's a bad position to have, is making any type of assumption of rational acting.
I would much rather.
The argument about whether or not this is a possible plan?
No.
Not whether or not it's the Johnson's actual plan?
No.
Okay. Well, then we have been arguing two different points.
My point with the Jets
is there is no reason to hang on to Adam Gase.
Because, one, if you're planning on losing games, is this team good enough to win a lot of games? Do you need Adam Gase to be ruining this team right now? This is a bad team. They will lose games. I guarantee you, this team's not winning a lot of games.
But at that point, it's not about losing a lot of games, which the Jets, again, most certainly will. It's about losing the most games.
I understand.
It's not about doing. Go ahead.
I would also argue if the Jets really wanted to, they have enough draft capital to trade their way up as well.
Not the first overall pick.
And at the same time, I just. This also involves you saying we're moving on from Sam Darnold. And there's a will and won't conversation with that, which has merits on both sides. And there's also the conversation about, well, what has he shown me this year? And if you keep Adam Gase, he's never going to show you anything. I'm not saying it's by any means likely that getting rid of Adam Gase would lead to a Sam Darnold revolution where he, throws for 3,000 yards in the last handful of games or some shit like that. Averages 300 yards a game for the next 10 games. Throws 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, no fumbles, blah, blah, blah. But at least you know what you had.
I think Sam Darnold could put up near MVP level numbers, and it would still be worth taking Trevor Lawrence and trading Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold putting up MVP numbers would be great for the Jets because they now have significant, leverage when they trade him. But, Trevor Lawrence is such a fantastic prospect, such a near perfect prospect that you're going to have under team control and controlled salary for 5 years. Whereas you'll have Sam Darnold for 1. MVP level Sam Darnold for 1 year versus Trevor Lawrence cost controlled for 5 is a tough decision because on one hand MVP level Sam Darnold is playing at an MVP level now. And you can see it on the field, but you don't know whether that's going to be the Sam Darnold that comes back next year, that comes back and plays with, whatever system gets put in place, whatever coach gets hired, whatever motivation he will have after signing a giant contract. You have no idea. But it's a lot less uncertainty than, a guy, a rookie quarterback coming in. But I don't think the uncertainty with Trevor Lawrence is enough to warrant giving up all those years of team control.
And that brings me to my next point, is that at what point is top ranking a quarterback meaningful?
When it's this quarterback, it is. If this was last year, last year's not the best example because Joe Burrow is an excellent prospect. But Trevor Lawrence, by all accounts that I've heard from actual scouts in the industry, from, executives in the industry, from everyone who knows their stuff, is worth their salt, and has watched Trevor Lawrence and scouted Trevor Lawrence, say he is just as good, if not better, than Andrew Luck was as a prospect. And he was the golden boy. He was the best since John Elway. And to have him be in that...
I have a new level of skepticism for highly touted. Baker Mayfield hasn't turned out. Sam Darnold hasn't turned out. The jury's out on Joe Burrow, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's doing well. Mitch Trubisky didn't turn out. Carson Wentz didn't turn out. Jared Goff didn't turn out. Kyler Murray's doing okay.
Jared Goff is doing all right. Joe Burrow is playing very well. Jared Goff is playing okay. Carson Wentz, was playing well, and then nobody in the world knows what's happened with him. But you're viewing the angle you're looking at this from is top quarterback in the class, not top quarterback in the past 10 classes. So, each year it's going to fluctuate how good the top prospect is going to be. It's going to happen like that every year. The class with Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins, that was a terrible quarterback class. Tua Tagovailoa, Joe Burrow is a really good one. And it comes and goes. The skill level of the top prospect goes up and down, and everything that we've seen. Even a guy like Joe Burrow, who was a super high-ranked prospect, one of the top guys I've seen since I've started getting into scouting, he came out and he only had a year and a half of truly great film. A year of truly great film, another year of pretty good film. But a guy like Trevor Lawrence has had exceptional film for 3 straight years now. And it's not like he came out of nowhere. It's not like he started bad and has been working his way up. He came to Clemson as an 18-year-old true freshman quarterback and has been the number 1 overall draft pick for this class in Penn since then. It's just that level of consistency is so difficult to find in prospects, especially when the consistency is that of the best player at the position.
I understand conceptually what you're saying, and it's all gut feeling at this point. All right, you know what? Let me ask you.
But trust me, I get the skepticism. I do.
Let me ask it to you this way. And this is a little bit of an unfair argument on my end, but is Trevor? If you put Trevor Lawrence on this team, this Jets team, are the Jets winning?
If you put just Trevor Lawrence on this team, nothing else, all else held constant, the team is probably going to win 4 games, 5 games maybe. Maybe. If you put Trevor Lawrence on this team and you are able to get some, offensive skill position players, if you're able to get, a piece or two at offensive line in the draft next year, if you're able to build a content, this is the Colts from 2012, 2013, 2011 maybe, I don't know. Whenever they drafted Andrew Luck, they won one game? They didn't win a single game, whatever it was. It was bad. And they were able to build around a really great quarterback. Albeit, poorly to start, for sure. But they went to the playoffs. And that's the same potential that, this Jets team has. Is it's not going to be perfect if they don't do it well. But even him alone, just Trevor Lawrence, enough to win this team games, which is more than I think can be said about Sam Darnold.
All right. Now, what you just said is what Jets fans have been saying about the Jets for the last,
ever.
Since Geno Smith, probably. That'd be my guess. But definitely in the entirety of the Sam Darnold era, if you get some offensive line guys, you get a wide receiver or two. The Jets have had top 3 cap space in the NFL for 8 seasons.
Correct.
We're there. If the Jets wanted to do it, and this is what I'm saying about organization is bad, and you should try to actually convey some level of competency to not just the players on your team, but the players on other team, because the Jets aren't shy of money. We've got a fuck ton of it. We've had a fuck ton of it, and no one's here. No one.
Yeah.
And the guy that came here, we damn near basically ran off the team. Think about how many offensive linemen were rumored to go to the Jets, and then how many actually signed here. Not a lot. We had to pull Connor McGovern out of retirement. It's not good. No one wants to be here. And no one wants to be here because this team is a fucking mess. And it's not just Adam Gase. It's the ownership and the way they run this fucking team. And that's what I'm saying about rational actors. Yeah, if you say we're going to get rid of Sam Darnold, we're going to lose a bunch of games so we can draft Trevor Lawrence, use our cap money to get some offensive linemen, to get some offensive weapons, hit on half of our draft picks, then we'll be set. Yeah, the Jets fans have been saying that for seriously 6 years. It's been ridiculous. And it's not happening.
I can't solve all of your problems with coaching and player decisions. At some point, the owners are going to have to figure their shit out too.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't want to just commit to losing for the sake. If this was the Steelers, yeah, lose the games. You've got good leadership. You've got great player development. The pieces of your organization that make an organization good long term are there for the Steelers. And they'll take a season of losses to get a Trevor Lawrence type guy and then move on and be good again. Of course they will. When have the Jets ever done that? Mark Sanchez?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want you to sit there. I don't want, not you, literally, the royal you, to sit there and tell me the Jets got to lose the bunch of games so they can get this guy. Well, we've been hearing about this guy, this guy, whoever this guy is, forever. It's not going to, nothing ownership gets out of its own ass and wants to win games, in part just to see what the hell they have, and they won't do it. So I want to sit here and be having Trevor Lawrence. Honestly, if we got to draft day and the Jets are the first overall pick, I'm going to be fucking pumped about Trevor Lawrence. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't want Trevor Lawrence. If the Jets have the first overall pick in the draft, fuck yeah, lay that white boy on me. Give it to me. I'm ready. I'll move on from Sam Darnold in a fucking heartbeat. I don't give a shit. This is a business. But it seems so bereft of history with this franchise to be yeah, they'll do the right thing. No, they won't.
Good movie.
It's the Johnson brothers get off on doing the wrong thing. They love it. It's in their DNA.
Oh man, Gary V buying this team. Oof, that would do wonders for morale and how many free agents you'd be able to get to come to this team.
Dude, seriously. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you're never. It's like umping in a game. The good umps, it doesn't even factor into your mind that they're there. Bad umps, oh boy, do you know their names? And same thing with owners. Same thing with owners, man. I do not remember the name of the man who owns the Dodgers. I have no idea what that man's name is, but I bet he's doing a great job.
Vin Scully.
He might as well. But like he's doing a great job. We know who owns the Pirates.
Oh.
You know,
unfortunately, yeah.
We know who owns the Angels. We know those names.
We do.
All right,
it's unfortunate.
That's enough Jets talk for today. Let's talk about former Jet.
I was waiting for that transition.
Hey, yeah, man. Let's talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick, aka Fitzmagic, aka the Amish Rifle, apparently. He got benched. No, but he is white with a beard, and that is close enough. So he has been benched. He has played 6 games in Miami, started 6 games in Miami this season. He's got a completion percent of 71, which is a career high. He's got 1,500 yards so far, which is more than he had in 6 games in Tampa in 2017. By God, I forgot he was in Tampa in 2017. And he's got 10 touchdowns on 7 interceptions. He's having.
To be fair, is not awful.
No,
it's not good. It's not awful.
Oh, it is not good. It's better than Daniel Jones. And he's got a QB rate of 95, which again, all things considered, this is a tidy season. Yeah. But it is to a time, and Ryan Fitzpatrick expressed his displeasure in the benching. So let's take it one step at a time. The Dolphins, as it stands right now, are second in their division at 3-3, which means, I guess, because they're only 1 game back of the Bills, who are sitting at 4-2, the division title is in play for them so far into the season. Which really, it's in play for everybody but the Jets. Bills, Dolphins, and the gap between the Bills and the Patriots, who are sitting at third, is a game and a half. So it's.
Oh my God!
What?
I just realized that, when you said the Dolphins are in second, my first thought was, man, I can't believe the Bills are doing that bad. I had no idea. And then I remembered the Patriots aren't good anymore. It's like an epiphany I just had. Oh, God damn.
Well, we will get there. Patriots, third in division, but second in point differential. Dolphins, first in point. So the Dolphins are the only team in this division that have a positive point differential at plus 47. Next closest is the Pats at -1, then the Bills at -12, and the Jets at -110. Which, if you're saying, wow, that's really bad, yeah, it's the worst in the NFL. Square up. So, if anything, I would expect the regression from the Bills that I guess we're currently seeing as this point differential slowly slides into becoming worse and worse. But anyway, the division is in play for them. And they're definitely in a wild card hunt. I know we're only 6 weeks into the season, so might feel a little bit silly saying some of this stuff when we're talking about the difference between 1 to 2 games, but we're there. So the timing of this seems a bit suspect. Not suspect, but just a little bit odd. Like when the Giants benched Eli for Daniel Jones, it was clear that the Giants were not winning anything that season. They gave it their best shot with the known quantity that is Eli Manning, and then they went to the young guy just to get a feel for him, break him into the NFL, and get used to being on a bad team. With this, granted, to a prospect than Daniel Jones, but this is not the same. The Dolphins are actually winning games here and there. So, Corwin, what do you think of the decision?
I haven't really thought terribly hard on it. Just what I've been seeing at surface level, and while I haven't really been watching it too much of the Dolphins this year, I do kind of agree with the idea that, you don't pull a horse mid-rate or whatever the idiom is, where it's like, hey, Ryan Fitzpatrick's doing pretty all right. He's winning you games. That's what's most important. Why switch up a good thing? But on the other hand, your star rookie quarterback, who's, a tremendous prospect in his own right, is finally healthy. He got a little bit of taste of, game action under his belt. You want to see what he can do. And I kind of, completely am on board with the idea of, hey, this guy's ready. The team thinks he's ready. He's healthy. The team is performing well. Let's get him in there. Let's see what he's got, because he's the future and, Ryan Fitzpatrick is not. And I get it. So the more I think about it, the more okay with and the more I agree with the idea of benching Ryan Fitzpatrick for Tua Tagovailoa.
I'm actually going to take it even a step farther and say that this is time-wise what they were going to do. Whether they were, maybe 6-0 would be a different conversation, but whether they were at like 5-1 or 0-6, because this week 7, is the Dolphins' bye week, and then they're home against LA. So if you were going to change quarterbacks and give Tua extra time to get first team reps and give him some time to sit on the bench and get used to things, and then hey, let's throw him into a game that we're winning by a lot, against the Jets, which is exactly what they did. This lines
Absolutely.
up. Willing to bet that Dolphins top brass said before the season started, after week 6, we're going from Fitz to Tua. And this is it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good decision for all the reasons you laid out pretty much. You have to do it eventually. This is the future. If Tua doesn't pan out, you need to know that. And if Tua's good, you need to know that. Because you getting through the season with Ryan Fitzpatrick and maybe ultimately going anywhere between 8-8, 9-7, even 10-6, and making the playoffs once, that is a great season that does not tell you anything about next year. And if there's anything that you're concerned about with Tua Tagovailoa, it is, what's he going to look like next year? And the only way to really get a good picture of that is by having him play this year. So, you had to do it eventually. And if the kid really struggles for 3-4 weeks, if you needed to, if you're still in a hunt, all right, go back to Fitzpatrick. He'll get it. Everyone needs time off. If the kid's struggling, you see it. But I think this is the right move.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even know that it was their bye week this week, but that is all the more reason to do it. That makes a lot of sense. Obviously starting a rookie quarterback against the Rams isn't the best scenario. A guy coming off injury with an injury history, going up against Aaron Donald in his first start, not ideal. 2 weeks of preparation, absolutely a good start. And you know what? The Dolphins have been rebuilding in a fairly unique, but at the same time, very effective way, draft value-wise. I think this is the smart decision. Like you said, figuring out what you got. Obviously, one season for a top pick like Tua isn't going to be make or break, but it'll give you information you need to know about how you need to build around this team for next year. And I do think overall, I don't know if I'd want Tua to start, to be my playoff starting quarterback right now. But there's only one way to find out if you are going to push for the playoffs, whether or not he could start for you there. And that's by getting him playing time.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think about Ryan Fitzpatrick's response to all of it?
I thought it was heartbreaking. I respect the hell out of Ryan Fitzpatrick. I really do enjoy, watching him play and the excitement he brings to a team when he's so deep into his career. and the things he said about, not knowing if that was the last game he was ever going to play in, him feeling like this was the first team he thought of as, his team since when he was on the Bills back in, I want to say like 2010. It's tough because a guy like that, I don't want to say deserves better because it's a situation he knew he was going to be in, what have you, but I always hope for the best for him. And, I wish he could have gone out on more agreeable terms.
Yeah, he's always come across as being just a stellar dude when he was with the Jets, when he was with Tampa, and even before all that. One of his main quotes is, quote, "My heart just hurt all day. It was heartbreaking for me. I've been a starter. I've been benched all kinds of different ways, but this one just really more so than any of them. I just felt fully committed and invested and felt like it was my team." Now, I didn't hear his actual quote, so I don't know the tone of it. Did you actually watch any video or anything?
I did. It was retrospective. It was, remorseful. Not remorseful, but it was sad. It was him, kind of really facing the reality of it and just being, down in the dumps about being fired. The one that really stuck out to me the most was, hey, I, just got fired from my job and then had to sit next to the guy that fired me and the guy that's replacing me for a meeting for 4 hours. And you know what? It doesn't matter what field you're in, playing in the NFL, making the money he's making, that's still a tough situation. And I get why he's feeling the way he is. I don't agree with the hate that he's getting about, oh, boo-hoo, you're rich. Oh, boo-hoo, you knew what was going to happen. You knew this was coming. It doesn't matter. It's still a tough situation to be in.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to bring up, is that I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter and being like, oh, he acknowledged he was going to get benched. He knew he was going to get benched. We all knew he was going to get benched. This takes back all the nice things he said about Tua. And it's like, no, it doesn't, man.
Yeah.
You can go into ever heard of a temp? Those people still feel bad when they get told they don't go to that job anymore. If you have to stop working, it sucks for any reason. Unless, I don't know, you retire. And even then, I know people who retire and aren't thrilled about it. But yeah, the dude, he didn't say anything wrong. It's not like he's out there saying, can't believe I got benched for this schmuck. It's not like he's out there saying, I can't believe I'm getting benched for some stupid lefty or some weird shit.
Yeah. And it's Ryan Fitzpatrick of all people. He is going to be there supporting Tua every snap, every rep.
Yeah. And I'd much rather get this from players than anything else. When Eli got benched for Daniel Jones, I bet this is how he felt, but to a much larger degree, since he was the face of the Giants franchise and never missed a game.
I watched the man stand at his locker and cry in front of all of New York media because he lost his job.
Yeah, and I want to hear that actual emotion from him. I think all of us of our generation, Corwin and younger, are just tired of hearing the usual rigmarole that players give in post game news conferences or in reactionary news conferences where it's just all the same old platitudes you always hear. I'd rather hear this. These are people. I'm glad Ryan Fitzpatrick gave us his actual emotions on the matter, because I can sympathize with that. Now I've always liked Ryan Fitzpatrick, and this doesn't change anything. I'm happy that he was able to have a platform to express how he felt, and I bet over this next I guess 2 weeks is the bye week, he'll be there for Tua the way he's been there for every other quarterback he's had.
Mm-hmm.
So
you want to talk about other former Jets?
Yeah. Le'Veon Bell is officially with the Kansas City Chiefs. He has not played a game yet. His first game will be upcoming this next week as the Kansas City Chiefs face off against I had it up.
All right. So this is a hard pivot in the show. If it sounds different auditorily, it's because mid-sentence we had a technical difficulty. It is now very late here, as we approach 10 o'clock, and we started trying to record this around like 8:30 and got marred with technical difficulties at the top of the show. But anyway, here we are, and Corwin and I are hoping sincerely that we don't have to do this anymore. Anyway,
this is a reminder to both myself, because I forgot, and to Josh. I have to be at a job at like 6 a.m. tomorrow. I just totally remembered that. It's just a painful memory.
yeah, life is pain, and then we die.
Life is pain.
So anyway, we're just gonna roll with this as much as we can. This ends up being short because at this point, I don't think Corwin nor I know how long we've been recording for. But we both wanted to end. So let's talk briefly about the Kansas City Chiefs acquisition of Le'Veon Bell, and then peace out of here. Sound good to you?
Sounds bueno.
All right. So as it stands right now, the Chiefs' leading rusher is Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's been wonderful for them. He has 505 yards on the season. Not counting quarterback Patrick Mahomes, how many yards do you think the next running back has for...
Now recording.
Oh, lovely. How many yards do you think the next running back has for the Chiefs?
Oh, so what? Clyde has what? 500 something? We said
505.
I don't know, 130.
No, 61.
Wow, I went low, and I am still surprised.
Darrell Williams
that's
has
not good.
61. And then the rusher after him that has fourth most on the team is held by Tyreek Hill with 54. So it's a huge drop off from 505 for our non-quarterback offensive weapons.
I mean, I say that's not good, but at the end of the day, like, running back is a position where one guy can be a bell cow and have 90% of the production, 90% of the carries, and still be a good running back. Look at a guy like Zeke or DeMarco Murray back in the day, or Derrick Henry, Still, that being said, wow, the Chiefs are in a position where they have a 1-2 punch of a Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell, who, by all means, are similar type backs, who both are extremely patient and just excellent behind the line of scrimmage, excellent with their lateral movement. These two are going to be fucking nuts, and I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire could actually learn a thing or two from Bell while he's there and get even better. So I am all about this signing, if that was a part of the question you asked me like 35 minutes ago.
I don't remember if it was either. Honestly, at this point, I don't. If Bell can return to 75% of form from the Steelers, it's just a good signing for like every team in the NFL that's not the Jets. So, yeah, I mean, giving Mahomes another weapon in general, great idea. Another run game option, which apparently they could use more of to at least some capacity, cool idea. And and that weapon being someone who's flexible in terms of their catch ability, block ability, and actual run ability, like Le'Veon is just so much fun. It's just the Chiefs are doing what like the Rams did, but without having to spend all the money. and having just a better quarterback helps.
Yeah. This
helps
also just goes to show how just fake the cap, the hard cap is, the salary cap is, because you can make space. You can be the best team in the NFL with, like $80,000 worth of cap space going into the season, and then halfway through the year sign fucking Le'Veon Bell, waivers.
Yeah, it's all imaginary. None of it's real, man. None of it's real. Not a word.
Everyone's just playing Monopoly.
What piece are you?
I have no idea. Maybe like the hat. No, that's too nice. Maybe like the shoe. I feel like the shoe today.
I'm feeling very thimble-ish.
Ooh, good call. Good call.
Yeah. All right. Two quick guys, and then we'll dip out of here. I know that's what I said after the Chiefs, but just to make all this rigmarole of us having tried to figure out this setup worth it, let's just give it two more quick points. And are you worried? With two parts, are you worried the Bills have lost 2 games straight? They've gone 4-0, and now they are 4-2. Are you worried?
No, because I think with the division they're in, even with Tua coming in to start the Dolphins, I just don't see how they could not win the division. I think they pretty much have that in hand. Their defense is still excellent and is going to win them ball games. I think the Bills are fine.
Yeah,
obviously, I think they're regressing to the mean of what they actually are. I was very surprised they started 3-0, 4-0, whatever it was they
4-0.
started off the year. So I think this is more of a reality situation. Plus, I'm pretty sure they played 2 good teams, so I don't think anyone should be worried.
Yeah, they did. This week they played the Jets. Are you worried the Patriots are 2-3 with a losing record? Are you worried?
Worried? Yeah, I'd be worried if I was a Pats fan. Am I surprised? No, not at all. I mean, yeah, Cam Newton signing was huge. That was for the team. But at the end of the day, I mean, their team was gutted from last year. I don't see how Pats fans expected Cam Newton to come in and, put the team on his fairly broken back and carry them to the playoffs. Tom Brady did when they have no receiving options, no rushing options, not that great offensive line, empty defense. There's a lot there. There's a lot of reasons why this team was not going to live up to the wild expectations they somehow still had, and I think we're just seeing that.
All right. All right. I say we call it there, unless you have anything else you really want to bring up right now.
I'm okay.
All right. Well, if you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at JuicingPod. If you want to hit us over via email, you can do so at juicingthenumbers@gmail.com. And until Monday, y'all have a good one.
Bye.